because you actually see him morph from a spider into a pig. And you're going, what?
Oh, Spider-Ham. He's probably one of the best characters in this movie.
Yes.
Probably one of the best.
John Mulaney hit it out of the ballpark.
Yes. And be like, they really
to
did.
the point when his final line in the movie is,
Yes.
That's all, folks. Can he say that?
Legally?
Which was my question.
Hey, let's rewind that.
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
All right, let's do this one last time. My name is Drew Dodger, and for the last couple months, I've been doing a podcast with my good buddy, Jacob Herring. While we love film in general, with us being artists and all, we have a fascination with animation. And we decided to start an audio podcast after we both geeked out over the animated Transformers movie. We're not perfect, we've gotten names wrong, and we don't always agree on movies. But at the end of the day, we try to bring an informative and entertaining show to you all. And we'd like to welcome you to The Cellcast.
Rewind.
Okay, that's fair to do it then. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast.
I'm just going to repeat myself. Rewind.
Joining me today is a man who, well, he's been through the multiverse a couple times. At least he's got a girlfriend now. Welcome, Jacob.
Why? Well, at least I didn't drag her from another universe.
There is that.
That is true, because that would be awkward. Why, thank you. And let me introduce our co-host, a man who simply, why did you have to bring that pig in again? The spider pig?
Well, I was feeling a little tiny, a little toony, and quite very much a little bit loony.
I agree.
This is not Tiny Toon Adventures.
No, it's not.
Though there is a Tiny Toon in it.
Yes.
He has a toon and he's tiny. But
Yeah.
anyway,
He's a pig.
he is a pig. Yeah. If you're listening to this and wondering what's going on,
Uh-huh.
we are doing a couple episodes over the course of the next year, every other month,
Mm-hmm.
starting with this one, where we are looking back at our season 1 episodes back before we had a real format for our reviews, and we're re-reviewing them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is the Cellcast Rewind, and we're totally not ripping off another podcast.
No, we're not, of course.
Not in the slightest.
No. And
Look at the album art. Special thanks to Francisco Roy Ruiz for helping us with some things and being a good sport, and Paul.
oh my gosh. And a huge thank you to our fans, our supporters over at
over on the Cell Nation and in the Cellcast podcast page for voting for this to be our first one, which honestly makes a lot of sense considering the sequel's coming out this year.
Yes, which I'm looking forward to.
So we're kind of doing this a little loosey-goosey. We didn't, because I didn't think to ask this question before we went live. I assume we want to give our scores from the last time before we get into the full review, but but after the spoiler-free.
I would say so.
Then let's do that.
All right.
Let's jump into that spoiler-free review.
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
Yeah, that's the other thing. This was all season 1 was way before Deedlit joined us.
Yeah, Deedlit and all the great stuff that's been, developed over the past 5 years, 4 seasons.
We're happy you're here too, Deedlit. Yeah. Anyway.
Did she say anything on that?
Moving on.
Oh, great.
It's not worth repeating.
Okay. At least we're not getting I'm not going to say it because it'll probably happen. Just say it. Not going to say it.
Anywho, spoiler-free review.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, this is like my 5th or 6th time watching this film. Because first time was my birthday movie of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
The second time was when me and Chase went to go see it.
Okay.
The third time is when I dragged you and Wendy to go see it.
Yes.
And the fourth time was the last time we reviewed this.
Oh my gosh.
So this is actually fifth time I've seen this film.
Okay.
No, sixth, because I watched this on Blu-ray by myself.
Ah, okay.
Because you watch what you get sometimes.
That is true. If it's a film you really love, be like, yeah, you're gonna watch it both times.
Exactly. I will say this, but if you're not watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse before, and you have the Blu-ray, you're not watching off Netflix. I think it's still on Netflix.
It's not on Netflix anymore.
Where is it at now? Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Okay, if you're not watching on Amazon, because I don't think this is on the Amazon one either, but you need to watch before the film the short on the Blu-ray called Peter Porker the Spider Ham in Ham of a Time. I don't remember the name of
I think it's
thing.
Ham of a Time, I think.
Hang on, it's listed on the back of here. Caught in a Ham.
Caught in a Ham.
So yeah, you do need to watch Spider Ham Caught in a Ham first, as it's honestly they should have played it before the film in the theater.
I agree.
It would throw you for a loop, and it'd be a weird way to start it. But it would just been like a cool little Looney Tune gag thing. It's like, okay, yeah, there's a comedic bit before the thing, and they're gonna and of course it does end with him entering the Spider-Verse or through the mysterious portal, I'll say. But it kind of I think I would have preferred that to how it actually came. So yeah, go watch Caught in a Ham first, then watch Spider-Verse, and do all that before you listen to us spoil it here in a minute. But yeah, this is one of my favorite movies. I'm looking forward to the sequel. It is definitely family friendly, and I think everyone should go watch it.
I agree.
Especially if you like Spider-Man in any way, shape, or form.
This is, I believe, my third or fourth time watching this film. I also enjoy this film tremendously. Like Drew said before, he dragged me and Wendy, and we have told the story over and over again, but it's worth repeating again and again and again. So, my dear brother in Christ, I had forgotten to mention he's watched this movie twice already. Yeah, forgot to mention that his brother
in my defense.
Agreed.
It was not in my context to think about it at the time.
Right.
In fact, I nearly texted you about 5 minutes into this movie saying, hey, by the way, the opening logos you might want to skip. Just as a joke.
But
right, because it did. I don't know if it had just never come up before. No, it had come up before because of The Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
It was just called Incredibles 2. Because that movie had a lot of flashing strobing lights, which was a worry for those with epilepsy.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad.
And I know you can get epilepsy from that. You can suffer from epileptic. Yeah, you get epileptic seizures sometimes.
Yeah.
And I knew that at the time.
It just didn't.
Just never occurred to me to let you know ahead of time that because I didn't even think it was that bad.
Yeah.
In reality, because I have no idea how sensitive at the time. I had no way of being that sensitive.
Right.
But yeah. Sorry, I was looking at something on my phone. So yeah, it was a fun, interesting experience.
Yeah, agreed.
Because as the Columbia logo is playing,
oh my gosh,
something occurs to me that I may need to check on my brother sitting next to me.
And I'm literally sitting there, it's like, crap. Because my entire body's doing this number. It's like, crap. It's like, Drew, why did you warn me?
I didn't think about it. I'm sorry.
But it was fine. Be like, our dear friend Wendy's and like, oh my gosh, are you okay? You need to leave us. Like, no, I'm fine. They can't do anything anyway. Because there again, like I've said before, I have Tourette's disorder, and as a result, I can have epileptic seizures.
Right.
And I'm just sitting there in the theater. It's like, wow, this is really cool. And it's getting really strubby. It's like, okay.
And the thing is, once you recognize that little fact,
You're stuck.
and then the Marvel logo is going, and you're going, surely that's the last
No.
logo. And then you get Sony Pictures Animation. Okay, that makes sense. Surely that was the last logo.
No.
Pascal Pictures. Guys,
Come on.
you're killing your audience here. I know what you're doing. And thankfully, the second the approved by the Comics Code Authority logo pops
that
up,
was perfect.
which is just a funny joke in and of itself.
Yes.
That's when everything just kind of goes off, and you get a few seconds to breathe before more strenuous visuals hit you.
Yeah.
But not as stroby.
bad.
Not as stroby.
Not as stroby. No stroby. No stroby. So yeah, watch that. Great viewing. And then we reviewed it for the podcast.
Yes.
Reviewed the podcast that first year, which we're re-reviewing now. And I remember I watched it after that, and then watching it for this review. So it's like 4 times.
Right.
4 times. It's really good. Highly recommend it. There again, if you do have if you're prone to having epileptic seizures, be like, you might want to skip the intro. Or at least the opening logos.
Well, just fast forward a little bit, because that should get you past that without triggering the epilepsy, I will hope.
Yeah.
Though I will say, this is just a little thing, because we didn't talk on this last time, because the little effects on the Columbia logo specifically.
Oh yeah.
Not the other ones. The other ones are just kind of, oh, you're playing with the visuals. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
No, the Columbia logo, they actually mess with and actually show different versions of the Columbia logo.
That is
over
true.
the
They
years,
do.
which is cool.
Yeah, agreed.
Which is, I think, is why that's the less trippy one of the logos.
I agree.
Because they're not just trying to go, pay attention.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a really, really good film. Be like, if you're just a Marvel nut and you haven't watched this film, what are you doing? Go find it, go watch it.
Yes.
If you're the animation guys like we are, be like, you probably are watched it already. If you haven't, what are you doing? Watch this film.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just the average moviegoer, be like, everybody I've talked to, like movie wise, this is a very excellent film.
Yes. I do have one other little story to tell that I actually told on the original, but I want to tell it again.
Okay.
About why I chose this movie originally as my birthday movie that year.
Okay.
Because if you remember, that year, 2018, that was actually going to be, I was thinking, the first year where there wasn't going to be a movie for me to watch in theaters for my birthday movie.
Oh, okay.
Because the thing that would have made the most sense, Solo, a Star Wars movie, came out in May instead of December like all the other Star Wars movies.
Fair.
Which is annoying. But anyway, so that October, of course, me and my mom will go and watch all the Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't really too hip on going to see Venom because I'd heard some, poor reviews.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to hear more on what Venom was like, go listen to the Bottom Shelf podcast where they reviewed that one. It's an interesting episode.
Oh, okay.
But as always, we got to the end of the movie. And of course, it's a Marvel movie. You just kind of have learned if it starts with the Marvel logo, you don't leave until the ad slideshow starts back up again.
Yeah.
After the film goes off. So we're just waiting in there waiting for the credits to finish. And if you've never seen Venom, what it does is at the very end, it says, it throws up the little comic blurb thing that says, meanwhile, in another multiverse. And then it shows the train scene where he first meets Peter B. Parker.
Yeah.
And up until this point, I had been a little iffy on watching Into the Spider-Verse because while I like the Spider-Verse comic, I just suspected that they weren't going to follow it because they've done some Spider-Verse adaptions before.
Yeah.
And they've been good, but they've not been, exactly what I wanted.
Right.
And when I initially saw the animation for this on a trailer, I remember thinking, oh no,
that was similar.
That looks cheap because you couldn't really tell what they were doing in the original trailer for this. So I'm thinking, oh, this looks cheap. This looks bad. Don't do this. So I was just willing to write it off. And then I'm sitting in that theater waiting to go use the restroom for this last thing to air. And it says, meanwhile, another multiverse. I'm thinking, what are you showing here? And it starts going through the train scene. And I'm watching this on the scene on the big screen for the first time. Before this point, completely, was not interested, really. I was going to watch it anyway, but I assumed this was going to be like a made for TV cheap thing. Like I expected it to be, this is going to sound bad, but I expected it to be something along the level of the DC animated universe. Not that that's bad per se.
Right.
It's just, you go to see them. Those are straight to DVD movies.
Yeah.
And if you're going to put it in a theater, I want theatrical quality. And it just didn't look like it was doing that. So I'm watching this and going, Mom, I know I said this other movie that I still haven't watched. I think Mortal Engines was the name of it.
Yeah.
It was the Peter Jackson one that came out there. I know that said that was going to be our Christmas movie. I've changed my mind. I want to see this because this looks amazing. And so that's what we watched that year.
Makes sense.
And then a couple of weeks later, I'm saying to you, Jacob, you need to go watch this film. We need to set up a time for both of us. I'll go watch it with you. You don't have to go see it by yourself. We need. And
I remember that.
And then Wendy decided to come along with us. I don't remember how we got. She decided to come.
Yeah.
How that happened, but she went with us. And then I'm sitting next to you.
Oh my gosh!
While you're having an epileptic seizure, and I'm feeling guilty because it's like, I knew that was going to happen. Why did I not say anything? Because I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I guess Wendy is like, "Are you okay? Do we need to leave?" It's like, no, can't do anything.
Just let me get my oils.
Yeah, just like it's like, yes, Wendy is a huge Young Living.
Yeah, thankfully that cleared up.
That did
really quickly.
Yes,
and we all three enjoyed the movie again
tremendously. Yes.
So anyway, I think that's the last of that story.
I would agree. Kind of follow up with that because watching it now, I watched it the other day because you asked me the other day to have the film, and yes,
I didn't remember if you'd bought it.
Mm-hmm. So I watched it. I watched it. I'm like, you know what? This isn't too bad. Be like, it's on a 50-inch television. It's on a 150-inch screen, and you're just.
You say that, and I remember sitting there going, "Wow, they really did not think how this would affect people with epilepsy, did they?"
No, they didn't.
They really. This is getting close to the Lost Pokemon episode.
Oh gosh, if that was the case, I would just be like.
By the way, that was Pikachu's fault, not Porygon. Hashtag justice for Porygon. Porygon has not shown up in the Pokemon anime since then, and it was not Porygon's fault.
Oh yeah,
it's Pikachu setting off a thunderbolt inside of a computer that caused it to happen.
Ow! That gives me like
but you can't
a mental seizure just thinking about it.
You can't put this stupid electric rat in jail. So. Anyway, you ready to jump into our full review on this?
Yeah, why not?
All right. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Let's do this one more time. Listener discretion is advised. I'm sorry, my brain farted.
Hey, you did something different. It was cool. And you went, what am I supposed to do next?
Wait, it's like I still need to say the other thing, but I can't remember what it is now.
Anyways, oh my gosh.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This is, of course, a rewind review.
Mm-hmm.
And so as such, Jacob, do you want to know what you scored this movie previously?
I think I remember, but tell me anyways.
You scored it a 9.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to hold? You don't have to. Granted, we'll talk over it, and so I don't want this to color your final.
No. Be like
rating, but
be like I remember seeing that, and I was like, I think it might change. It might change.
Really?
Maybe.
I previously scored this a 9.5.
You did,
because I think I might have still been in the honeymoon phase.
Yeah,
a little bit when we reviewed this, but it might change. If for no other reason than we've had experience. We are on year 5, in the beginnings of year 5.
Right.
So we're a little bit more seasoned reviewers now.
Right.
So there might be some differences. We'll see.
Possibly. Yes.
Either way.
Yeah.
It was written and directed by Rodney Rotham, who also wrote 22 Jump Street. Also directed by Bob Persichetti and Peter Ramsey. Bob Persichetti was a rough in-betweener on The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, okay.
This was actually his first director job. The other director, Peter Ramsey, he directed Rise of the Guardians.
Really?
Yeah. And the last person I got in here, it was also written by Phil Lord. Of course, what is
The Lego movies, right?
it's the Lego movies back, Lord and Miller.
Yeah, Lord Miller.
But Miller's just a producer on this. He didn't put anything else into it, but
Yeah.
Lord at least did some writing on it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Throwing that out there. Getting into the cast, we've got Shamik Moore as Miles Morales,
Mm-hmm.
and in something called Dope, he played Malcolm. I don't know anything else. The other big things he did or is doing is the upcoming Spider-Verse films.
Okay.
He's got a couple other things on there, but nothing really jumped out at me.
Yeah.
Jake Johnson played Peter B. Parker. And in Jurassic World, he played a character named Lowry,
Oh, okay.
one of the people on Pratt's team.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I had to look it up because I was
Okay.
like, who's Lowry?
I got you.
Haley Steinfeld played Spider-Gwen, aka Gwen Stacy,
Mm-hmm.
or Spider-Woman, technically. And in the recent Hawkeye film,
Okay.
Hawkeye TV show,
Okay.
she played Kate Bishop, the new Hawkeye.
Oh, that explains why I recognize her a little bit.
Yes.
I still haven't watched that yet. I need to.
You do need to.
Didn't you say it was like more like a Christmas movie? Christmas show?
It's actually a Christmas show.
Okay, so I'll watch it in December.
Watch it now. Have a Christmas in March.
Okay. Okay then.
No, it's just a good show.
Okay.
To watch. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time for saying this name wrong because I'm fairly certain I will. Mahershala Ali played Uncle Aaron, aka the Prowler,
Mm-hmm.
and he played the character of Vector in Alita: Battle Angel.
That's right. He did. He's a really good actor.
Oh yes. Byron Tyree Henry was Jefferson Davis. Jeff Davis, the father.
Oh, thank you. That makes sense.
Yeah. And in Bullet Train, he played Lemon.
Oh, okay. Still haven't seen that film yet.
Lily Tomlin, the voice of Aunt May,
Mm-hmm.
who may or may not be at Madam Web,
Okay.
based on theories,
A web theory.
possibly. She played Miss Frizzle on the Magic School Bus.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't realize that was Miss Frizzle.
Huh. Who would have thought, right?
Mm-hmm. Luna Lauren Velez played Rio Morales, Miles's mom.
Yeah.
And in the TV show Dexter, she played Lieutenant Maria LaGuarta,
Hmm.
who apparently got a promotion on that show to captain at some point, according to IMDb, but I never watched the show.
Yeah.
Though I suspect since Dexter is a mass murderer and he's the protagonist, I'm assuming she's the
Lead detective or something. I don't know.
Well,
I haven't watched the show yet.
I was going to make a Lupin the Third reference, but I can't remember what the cop's name is
Oh,
right now.
okay.
It's not Serizawa. That's a Godzilla character. I cannot. Sekizawa. It's not Sekizawa. I can't remember the policeman's name. Either way.
Yeah, moving on.
Zoe Kravitz played Mary Jane Parker,
Mm-hmm.
and she was Selena Kyle in The Batman.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, oh, she played that version of Catwoman.
Mhm.
So, okay. The 3-hour Batman movie, which apparently they're doing a second one, I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
And it's somehow separate from the rest of the DC universe going forward.
Yeah, which is
Interesting.
James Gunn don't know what he's doing, but
We'll find
we'll
out.
find out.
John Mulaney played Peter Porker, the Spider-Ham.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. Peter Porker, the spectacular Spider-Ham. To be
Yes.
specific.
Yes.
And he was Chip in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, the movie.
Oh my gosh.
I knew I was
Oh.
going to get that reaction.
Oh
out of
my.
you.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
I was like, wait a minute, like the original Chip and Dale?
no,
the
movie.
The movie. Oh my.
The interesting movie.
Yes. It's like,
that,
come on.
as what is essentially Who Framed Roger Rabbit 2, but without any of the polish.
Yes. Oh my. Yeah. Wow.
Kamiko Glenn played Penny Parker.
Yeah.
and she played a character named Nomi in something called Dogs in Space.
Dogs in Space.
I don't know what it is, but it had dog in it.
Okay.
Thought of you
Thanks.
is what it is. Next, we've got Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
As Spider-Man Noir.
He killed it in this role. Killed it.
And he played the character of Castor Troy in Face Off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also Benjamin Franklin in National Treasure. Also Ghost Rider, which will come up later.
Oh my god.
In Ghost Rider. Johnny Blaze.
Oh my yeah.
So Johnny
Wow.
Blaze wasn't in the other thing. But anyway.
No. Oh wow. Just wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
And next we've got Catherine Hahn playing Dr. Olivia Octavius,
Yes.
aka Doc Ock.
Mm-hmm.
But more recently, in the television show WandaVision, she was
And I killed Sparky too.
Yep.
I'm sorry, she may be my favorite character in the MCU right now.
And they're coming out with
They're coming out with a new show.
for her own show.
How they're gonna get her out of where they left her, I don't know, but I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to finding
That's
out.
gonna be interesting.
Liev Schreiber played Wilson Fisk,
Mm-hmm.
and he played Victor Creed in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Remind me, that's Sabretooth, isn't it?
Yes, that's
I
Sabretooth.
thought that was
that was
Sabretooth.
Sabretooth.
Fisk was Sabretooth. Chris Pine played Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he was Captain James Tiberius Kirk in the Abramsverse Star Trek
Yes.
films, plus a couple other movies he was in.
Yeah. He's
About a certain other, can't think of his. Hunt for Red October.
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan, thank
Yeah,
you.
He played Jack Ryan
In
one of
Jack
those.
Ryan Shadow Recruit.
Yes.
I'm sitting there going, is Shadow Recruit? What's his first name? Because that's part that
Jack
comes before
Ryan.
the title.
Not Jack Reacher. Jack Ryan.
Yes.
I've actually read both books, the first ones. And
Mhm.
believe me, Jack Reacher, big bulky guy from the military who can crush you like a lemon.
Yes.
Jack Reacher or Jack Ryan is a book nerd. It is is a former Marine.
And last, but most certainly not least, obviously I have cut the film cast down
Yes.
to save us all time.
Yeah, that's a lot of cast.
Stan the Man Lee as Stan
Mm-hmm.
in his final film role.
Yes.
Technically, this did come out before Endgame, which is the one that contains the final cameo that we got to see.
Yes.
But this was the last one. This is not only the last one he recorded, it was the first movie to come out after he passed.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Just putting all that out there. There is some Kingdom Hearts connections, though.
Really?
Only 3.
Okay.
And it's all because of Kingdom Hearts 3 and the fact that it has an orchestral score
Oh, okay.
and not MIDI.
Oh.
James Thatcher and George Doring were in the music department for both the game and the movie.
Hmm.
And Stephen Mayer played double bass in both.
Oh, interesting.
And that's all I got for cast and crew. What do we got in info and stuff?
Okay. So info and stuff. It has an IMDb score of 8.5 out of 10. It's available to watch on no longer on Amazon, no longer on Netflix. Thank you.
Netflix.
It's no longer available on Netflix. I think I remember at one point, very briefly, it was available on Disney Plus, but that got
No, it's not gotten put back on Disney Plus.
yeah. I think it was there for like a hot second, and then it got taken off.
Maybe, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I don't think it was. Now, we do know that all of the Spider-Man films are going to end up on Disney Plus after the previously made contracts with Netflix and now Amazon go out.
Oh, okay.
Disney Plus is the next stop for all of the Spider-Man films.
Okay, good. Good. Because be like you have MC movies and they're not on Disney Plus. What is
There is still one film that will leave off of Disney Plus, though. That is a Marvel movie,
which one is that?
The Incredible Hulk.
Oh yeah,
because it's Universal,
it's Universal. That's right.
and Universal is not playing ball.
Nope, not
That's
happening.
why we still don't have an Incredible Hulk movie again sequel.
That happens. All right, so
We got She-Hulk TV show because that's technically a separate property.
it is. So it's available to watch on Amazon Prime for Amazon Prime Video for $2.99 and on YouTube for $3.99. Production, like Drew said before, there's a lot of production. There's a lot of production hands going in this
Yeah.
movie. Columbia Pictures, Sony Pictures Animation, Marvel
Mhm.
Entertainment, Arad.
Arid, I think it's Arid because it's AV. No, it's Arad because it's
Arad.
AV
That's right, Arad.
I had to think.
Yeah,
'cause-
Arad. Thank
yeah,
you.
He's been connected to all the Spider-Man films since the first one.
That's
so-
true.
And Pascal, which is the next one you're probably about to read.
No, actually, you have Arad Productions,
Uh-huh.
Lord Miller Productions,
Lord Miller, yeah.
and Pascal Pictures.
Right. And Amy, I think it's Amy Pascal is that producer's name.
Yeah.
And she's been connected, I think, since I don't remember if it's Amazing Spider-Man,
Mhm.
if that's when she came in, or if she came in at Homecoming.
Oh, okay.
But either way,
Who knows?
I don't remember all these things.
Yeah. So distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say be like with the Spider-Man movies that Sony has done, they do very well. Anything else Marvel they touch, not that great. Just saying.
Are you saying that you're not a fan of Morbius?
I haven't seen Morbius, but everything I've heard, it's not good. There again, I don't have a full opinion on it. I mean, I've seen Venom.
Let me put it this way. After I watched Morbius, I went, huh? I mean, it was fun, but it was stupid.
Okay,
And
fair.
and everything you introduced in the after credits scene makes no bloody sense. But okay. I'll put it this way: the Vulture shows up, and by the Vulture, I mean Homecoming Vulture.
Yeah.
That's separate universes. It really is. They had to come up with an excuse for him to show up over there. I'm like, what are you doing here?
All right. So going into release date, it was released on December 1st, 2018. And then it was released nationwide here in the United States on December 14th of the same year. So box office, it had estimated budget
That was
of
a very good day for it to come out.
December 14th
Mm-hmm.
because it's your birthday.
That's my birthday.
Yes. So keep that in mind, people. Keep that in
Yes.
mind.
This movie actually came out on my birthday.
All right, so it had an estimated budget of $90 million. It had an opening weekend. This is a really good opening weekend. On December 16th of $35.6 million for the United States and Canada that weekend, and its US and Canada gross was $190.2 million. Its worldwide gross was $384.2 million. Like, now, grant it's not in-game money or Infinity War money, but that's really good for a movie.
Oh yeah,
really good
especially
movie.
animated.
Yeah, especially animated. But like, this is not
That's
thrown-
not Pixar or Disney.
Yeah,
'cause
exactly.
They usually get a pull on those.
Yeah, true. So going into home release, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was released on digital download by Sony Pictures Home Entertainment on February 26, 2019 with a Blu-ray, Ultra HD Blu-ray, and a DVD release following on March 19th. All release were had features if I can talk by a short film featuring Spider-Ham, including Caught in a Ham. There's also apparently an extended cut with additional 30 minutes of unreleased footage. Let's see.
That would have been the alternate universe mode.
Yeah,
And
yes, that
it
is.
is all it does cut in with pencil sketches basically of what they would have done, which included, of all things, Spider-Man the motion picture.
Are we talking like yeah, either or.
It was how they introduced his roommate earlier in the film in that version,
Yeah.
and he was essentially like playing Ned in Homecoming,
Mhm.
that kind of character.
Yeah.
and say, "Oh, you got to do all the, you got to be a hero, and I'm gonna, I know all this cool stuff about Spider-Man because I watched this movie that I acquired."
All right, so
with a writer's commentary on it, including the Spider-Man.
Oh wow,
with the voice mask, so you couldn't tell who he was.
I gotcha. All right, so Spider-Man Spider-Verse was also released on Blu-ray 3D format in several regions outside the United States and the UK on August 10th, 2019. Sony on April 2021, Sony signed a deal with Disney, giving them access to their legacy content, including Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and all its sequels, to stream on Disney Plus on Hulu and appear on Disney's linear TV networks. Disney Access Sony's titles would come following their availability on Netflix. Into the Spider-Verse was previously available on Starz and FX. This film became available on Disney Plus in the UK, which I think it's still there now.
Yeah.
UK, Australia, and Japan on June 17, 2022, and on September 9th, 2022, and Ireland, Latin America, and Europe. Sequels. Obviously, there is a sequel coming this year, 2023.
Yes. Across the
Spider-Verse. And it's not part 1 anymore.
Yeah, they took the part 1 and part 2 off of those last year sometime.
Mm-hmm.
And part 3, well, what was part 2, the third movie, does technically have a different name, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. All right, so
End of the Spider-Verse or something like that.
It's actually Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Oh, Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Beyond the Spider-Verse. So on August 2018, the directors were focused on completing the film, but acknowledged that the introduction of the Spider-Verse in the film could create the potentials of many different stories to be told, depending on the success of the film. And obviously, it was a very success. By the end of November, Sony had greenlit a sequel and a spin-off for that certain film to be developed due to the incredible buzz surrounding the film. The film entered production in 2022. The Sony announced that the sequel will be released on August 8th, 2022, but the release was later delayed by 6 months to October 7th, 2022, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Thanks, COVID.
It's still not out yet because time.
Because time, of course.
They still had to work on it.
Then again, on June 2023, in December 2021, there we go. Lord and Miller revealed that the film was split in 2 parts after they wrote down the story they wanted to tell for the sequel and realized it was too much for a single film. Both films took place worked on both parts took place simultaneously. The second part, Beyond the Spider-Verse, is set to be released March 29th, 2024.
And I'm looking forward to both these films.
Yes. Because for me personally, like, I want to watch the films. At the same time, that means Marvel Legends is going to come up with a new Spider-Man, which I'm going to grab.
Indeed. Let's jump into the summary right quick.
Mm-hmm.
New York City teenager Miles Morales struggles to live up to the expectations of his father, police officer Jefferson Davis, who sees Spider-Man as a menace. Miles adjusts to prep school and visits his uncle Aaron Davis, who takes him to an abandoned subway station to paint graffiti. Miles is bitten by a radioactive spider and gains spider-like abilities similar to Spider-Man. Returning to the station, Miles discovers a collider built by Wilson Fisk, who hopes to access parallel universes to bring back his late wife and son, whose deaths he blames on Spider-Man. Miles watches as Spider-Man attempts to disable the collider while fighting Wilson's henchmen, Green Goblin, and the Prowler. Spider-Man saves Miles, but Green Goblin shoves Spider-Man into the collider, causing an explosion that kills Goblin and severely wounds Spider-Man. Spider-Man gives Miles a USB flash drive designed to disable the collider, warning that the machine could destroy the universe if activated. After watching in horror as Wilson kills Spider-Man, Miles flees with Prowler in pursuit, eventually getting away from him. As the city mourns Spider-Man's death, Peter tries to honor his legacy and become the new Spider-Man. While trying out his newfound abilities, he inadvertently damages the drive. At Spider-Man's grave, Miles meets Peter B. Parker, an older and worn-out version of Spider-Man from another dimension. Upon meeting him, Miles discovers his ability to emit bioelectric bursts called Venom Blasts. Peter reluctantly agrees to train Miles in exchange for help stealing the data to create a new drive. They infiltrate Wilson's research facility, and Miles discovers that he has the power to turn invisible. They are confronted by mad scientist Olivia Octavius, who discovers that Peter will die from cellular decay if he remains in that dimension. Chased through the laboratory and surrounding forest by Octavius, Miles and Peter are saved by Gwen Stacy, a Spider-Woman from another dimension. They visit Peter's aunt, May Parker, who is sheltering more spider people from other dimensions, namely Spider-Man Noir, Penny Parker, and Spider-Ham, who are also deteriorating. Miles offers to disable the collider and the others can return home, but after questioning and testing him, they tell him that he lacks experience. Distraught, Miles retreats to Aaron's home where he discovers that Aaron is the Prowler. Miles returns to May's house where Penny has completed the new drive. He is followed by Wilson, Prowler, Octavius, Scorpion, and Tombstone. In the ensuing brawl, Miles reveals his identity to Aaron just as Aaron corners him. Unwilling to kill his own nephew, Aaron spares Miles, but is fatally shot by Wilson. Miles flees with Aaron, who tells him to keep going before dying. Jefferson arrives on the scene and Miles escapes, leading Jefferson to mistake Spider-Man as Aaron's murderer. The heroes regroup with a distraught Miles at his dorm room. Peter restrains Miles to ensure his safety and leaves him with the others, choosing to sacrifice himself by staying behind and deactivating the collider. Jefferson arrives outside Miles' door and, assuming Miles does not want to speak to him, apologizes for his mistakes and inspires Miles. Miles then manages to control his powers, escapes his restraints, and creates his own Spider-Man suit with May's help. He joins the heroes, defeating Wilson's enforcers and using the new drive to send them home. Wilson fights Miles, attracting the attention of Jefferson, who realizes that Spider-Man isn't the menace he saw him as. Jefferson encourages Miles, who subdues Wilson with his Venom Blast and throws him at the kill switch, destroying the collider. Wilson and his henchmen are arrested for their crimes, and Jefferson recognizes the new Spider-Man as a hero while receiving evidence of Wilson's murders of Peter and Aaron. Miles embraces the responsibilities of his new life, with the heroes return to their lives in their own dimensions. Later, Gwen finds a way to contact Miles from her own dimension. Meanwhile, in another dimension, Miguel O'Hara of Spider-Man 2099 fame travels to the universe of 1967, the Spider-Man animated series, and argues with its Spider-Man. Getting into the trivia for this, art directors Dean Gordon and Patrick O'Keefe and their team turned to Cubism to help represent the dimensional quakes. Cubist art often depicts a collection of different views all happening at the same time, so it was a natural metaphor for the multiple universes converging in Spider-Verse. If you hit pause anytime a train goes by, because all the animators wanted to animate Stan Lee, he is in almost every single train.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
It was announced shortly after Stan Lee's death at age 95 that he had recorded a cameo for the film and that it would be his final voice acting role. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller felt it was important that Lee was given a bigger moment compared to previous Marvel films because he was so integral to the spirit of the movie, and considered his role extra meaningful following his death. The unique animation style of Spider-Verse aims to make the viewer feel as if they're in the pages of a comic book. According to Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, the film combined the latest computer-generated animation technology with hand-drawn artistry. It was very important to us that every frame of the movie was refined by the artist's hand after the visuals were rendered by computers. If you freeze any part of the movie at any time, it will look like an illustration with hand-drawn touches and all.
I agree with there.
It was Peter Ramsey's idea, though, to hold off on the visual comic language, word bubbles, panels, etc., until Miles is bitten by the spider.
That makes sense.
And the bagel text, as the bagel hits the scientist's head, was a joke pitch that an animator took seriously and added it in. I loved it.
That makes sense. That's perfect.
Completing the animation for the film required up to 180 animators, the largest crew ever used by Sony Pictures Animation for a film. The film was dedicated in memory of Spider-Man's co-creator, Steve Ditko, who died on July 6, 2018, while this film was finishing production. However, this was not the only dedication, of course, as a month before the film was released, Stan Lee died on November 12th, 2018. The film was dedicated to both the Spider-Man's creators.
Yes.
Nicolas Cage was excited that the director let him have fun with the role of Spider-Man Noir. Cage says, "It's no secret that I like to play with different sources. It was fun to go back in time and pull back a little of that Humphrey Bogart essence."
Yeah. Just a little.
Yeah.
Little.
Daniel Pemberton followed the ambitious lead of the Spider-Verse animation by developing an equally intricate score. After all the musical elements had been recorded, they were recorded onto vinyl and then re-scratched into the mix. Daniel Pemberton says, "I got a DNC World Scratch Champion DJ to scratch all the parts in."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
When Miles first visits Uncle Aaron's apartment, the television is playing the television show Community. The beginning of that episode shows Donald Glover's character, Troy, getting out of bed wearing Spider-Man pajamas. This was a reference to an unsuccessful 2010 campaign to get Donald Glover a chance to audition for the lead role in The Amazing Spider-Man, 2012. Miles Morales' co-creator, Brian Michael Bendis, describes that image of Glover in the Spider-Man pajamas as one of the major inspirations for the creation of the character and the character's design. Additionally, Glover appeared as another version of Aaron Davis in Spider-Man Homecoming, in which he makes a brief appearance to his nephew.
That's true. He does.
Glover also voiced Miles Morales in Disney's Ultimate Spider-Man in 2012, that cartoon series.
Nice.
At the beginning of the film, the famous phrase, "With great power comes great responsibility." This is actually said by Cliff Robertson, who played Uncle Ben in the original Spider-Man trilogy, starring Tobey Maguire. This quote was pulled from Spider-Man 2002 archival footage, as Robertson passed away in 2011. Spider-Ham's contribution to the scene when all the Spideys mention who they've lost is now a touching beat of him acknowledging you can't always save everybody. But it used to be a joke line about how his Uncle Frankfurter, who was electrocuted and he smelled so delicious.
Oh, jeez.
It earned a big laugh from early viewers, but they realized it both took viewers out of the heaviness of the scene and hurt Ham's appeal going forward. In the epilogue, Spider-Ham still appears eating a hot dog in front of Uncle Frankfurter's restaurant. According to comic book writer Brian Michael Bendis, Miles used his mother's last name because his dad was a secret agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And wanted to keep Miles safe. By the time Jefferson was no longer an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Miles was too old to change his name.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't think is a thing. I think you could still pay the $10 at City Hall to get it changed. Or
Yeah,
however
you can.
expensive it is, but
You can.
Whatever. Amongst all of the alternate Spider-Man suits in the deceased Spider-Man's underground lair are the Iron Spider suit from the Civil War comic arc and the suit from Sony's PlayStation 4 game with the white spider detail. Doc Ock's office is filled with octagonal-like fixtures and furniture as a hint to her true identity. When Miles shuts down the Collider's generator, you can see the Flidsmurdifer machine from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs getting sucked in.
Oh my gosh.
Peter Porker's animation and design look reminiscent of Looney Tunes. He also looks similar to Porky Pig, even lampshaded when the spiders return to their home dimensions. Porker's parting words, "That's all, folks," prompts an immediate reply from Peter B. Can he say that, legally? The Peter Parker of Miles' universe is blonde, a reference to Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, and a clone of Peter Parker, who for a time took over as Spider-Man and even dyed his hair blonde during his time as Spider-Man. And this one I found interesting. The brief shot of the cover of Charles Dickens' Great Expectations, seen at the very beginning of the film, shows a character touching another character's shoulder.
Oh, you're right.
And it's a deep cut piece of foreshadowing.
Oh. Oh. Ooh.
I like that.
That is good.
Last but not least, I'm going to go over the actual first introductions of pretty much all the spider people in this film.
Okay, so before you did that,
Okay.
I see, because when you were talking about how much it would cost to change your name, because
Yeah.
not going to be thinking, because there again, AD brain, it's like, what is that?
Right.
So
I assumed
apparently-
it was $10. So I got
no, it actually the court filing fee may cost between $100 and $300 depending on where you live.
Mm.
You know, that's what.
Okay, so yeah, it
fees
may
to
not be
change an adult's
feasible.
name. Yeah,
in that instance.
like it depends on where you like.
Especially New York. It's probably
Yeah.
expensive there.
Yeah, probably. Just FYI, if you wanted to change your name, that's how much it costs.
All righty. So going into first appearances, Peter Parker, the original Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
first appeared in Amazing Fantasy number 15 in
Mhm.
June 1962.
Uh-huh.
Because one of these Peters has to be Ben Reilly. Ben Reilly, aka the Scarlet Spider,
Mm-hmm.
first showed up in Amazing Spider-Man number 149 in July 1975.
He did.
Spider-Ham was first introduced in Marvel Tales starring Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, in November of 1983.
Wow.
Spider-Man 2099 made his official debut in Spider-Man 2099 number 1, March 1992.
Huh.
Spider-Man Noir first appears in Spider-Man, Noir number 1 in February 2009.
Hmm.
The Miles Morales version of Spider-Man first appearance was in Ultimate Fallout number 4, August 2011.
Mm-hmm.
The Spider-Gwen version of Spider-Woman made her debut in Edge of Spider-Verse
Mm-hmm.
number 2 in September of 2014. That was one of the tie-in books to the original Spider-Verse event. And Penny Parker and SP//DR, her spider friend,
Yes.
first appear in Edge of Spider-Verse number 5, October 2014.
Hmm.
I just realized, though, I did leave out Spider-Man 66.
You did.
First appearing on the animated television series Spider-Man in 1966.
Yes.
The 67.
Mm-hmm.
Either way,
One of those.
in the 60s.
Yes.
That's what all I got for trivia and such. What's your first like for this film?
Oh, that's almost like a dead ringer there. The animation in this film is
Oh, yes.
spectacular. Oh my gosh. You go into this film full force animation, like with the logos, how they do the logos, how they do that. Even they'll be like, it might be a little epileptic, granted, but be like from start to finish, animation wise, this movie is a tour de force. Like you know, they took some time. They took every bit of their energy, every bit of like everything to create this movie, and the like how they used angles, how they be like just how they animated characters.
Yeah.
Be like you have Spider-Man Noir, how he's animated.
You can actually see the half dot pattern in his
yes
on his model.
Yes, you can
from the newspaper print.
Yes, which is spectacular.
Yeah.
And then you have Peter Parker Spider-Pig is like how he's be like they're all animated differently except for like Spider-Gwen is animated very similar to how Miles is, and like they're all
Spider-Gwen, Miles, and Peter B. Parker pretty much use the same animation style.
And then you have
whereas Penny is a form of anime.
Yeah.
I say a form.
Yeah, it's a form of anime. Be like some people are like, well, it's not really anime.
No,
it's a style of anime. Come on, people.
I'm mostly saying it's not even traditional anime. It's because it's got kind of a cutout feature. It's really more manga than anime in a way.
I agree, it does.
Colored manga, not actual full anime, but that's just being pedantic.
Yeah.
Like a motion comic almost.
Yeah, agreed. I would agree with you on that. So yeah, this movie, the animation in this movie is breathtaking. It's one of those where you could probably just stop. You could stop, take a screenshot, frame it, and it's gonna look gorgeous. Be like, it's just one of these films. It was 2018 this movie came out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 2018. And I remember saying at one point, it's like I would just love just a screenshot of this on the wall because it's so breathtaking because the use of color and light and just motion and everything. It's no matter where you are in the film, you can just stop and just whoa.
Right.
It's like you study it for hours and hours and hours. Be like if it's not be like the I'm the uber comic nerd, I have to know everything that's going on, or the artist who's sitting like, wow, they did this and this and this and this and this entire film. It's spectacular or sensational. Let's use that. I'm going to use all the
adjectiveless.
Or adjectives.
Oh, you got amazing, superior, spectacular. Not uncanny because that's only on X-Men.
Yeah. Avenging.
Either way.
Yeah, there's actually an Avenging Spider-Man comic.
2099, Noir, Gwen.
Gwen, Spider-Ham. But overall, like I said, the animation in this movie is breathtaking and I love it to death. So, animation.
My first is the attention to detail.
Yes.
There are so many little bits through here that I can't even talk about them all. So I'm going to talk about one.
Okay.
Just to give you an idea.
Mm-hmm.
At near the end when Miles is kind of frustrated and panicking and they're trying to calm him down and console him.
Uh-huh.
At one point Miles says, none of you understand. He is referencing the fact that, he just saw his Uncle Aaron die in front of him.
Yeah.
And it's his fault. Who's the next person who answers him? Oh, it's Gwen.
That's true. It is Gwen.
It is Gwen. And she says, we're probably the only people who do understand.
Yes.
One of the things that caught me off guard is on that is, every other Spider-Man, of course, has lost somebody that actually got them to being a hero.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as, yes, Uncle Aaron was a father figure of sorts to Miles.
Yes.
Even though Jeff, his brother, was actually his father and was doing his best, but, he looked up to Aaron also.
Mm-hmm.
None of the other people who lost somebody, that other person was a villain for a time.
That is true.
Spider-Gwen's was. Because Spider-Gwen's was the Peter Parker from her universe.
That's right. He was the lizard.
Ended up being the lizard.
Yeah.
She's the only one of the six
that makes
probably
sense, would know that
knows what it's like not only to lose somebody, not just to think it's your fault that that person is dead, but to actually be the one who probably had to put them down or was involved with it, had to fight them to a point and then see them die in front of them after a big fight went, because she had to take down the lizard, which was Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And they even kind of hinted that, because that's the other thing, is anytime they're showing their backstories in those scenes, they are as truthful as you can probably get with that.
I agree.
Including, you actually can see on her fight with the lizard, because you see her fighting the lizard and she says, I lost my best friend.
Yeah.
You can see him turn back into Peter Parker, and he, even as he's dying, you can see the little scales still on his arm and such.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh wow, you really did pay attention to like all of this stuff.
Agree.
Granted, they don't get a chance to go into that as much with Penny or Porker or Spider-Man Noir.
Right.
But which is why I wanted Spider-Ham more. Of course, then you have the fact that of all the Spider people, Spider-Ham was technically a actual spider before he became Spider-Man.
That's right, because he was
a spider who was bitten by a radioactive pig. And that is how it was explained in the comic.
My gosh.
But the attention to detail, even the stuff that doesn't matter, like the fact that when they first turned the
Collider?
the collider on, and they show all the little where they're getting all the signals from.
Oh yeah.
And all the numbers they use are the actual universe numbers for all the spider people who are in this movie.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
Except because Miles is the one that's they mark as the center, which was the Ultimate Universe,
Mm-hmm.
1986, I think.
Don't quote me on
Don't
that.
quote. No, I don't know what it is. But all the other ones, the only two they don't show are, of course, 2099 and 66.
Yeah.
But that attention to detail, even when on things that really don't matter, that you
Yeah.
show on screen for a little bit, it's like, man, that I just love that that much thought was put into every single one of these scenes. And yeah, that attention to detail is definitely my first like.
Okay.
What's your second?
My second like, you mentioned the character in your first like, and I'm going to use his sound, or more case that he's coming.
Are you talking about the Prowler?
I'm talking about the Prowler. The Prowler sound.
The Prowler sound. It's I looked up what that was, and I can't remember now what it is. But the siren. They call it the Prowler siren.
Yeah, it's a Prowler siren, and it's just like it's so it's like how they set it up. It's just like be like most of them be like a character comes in and they have some kind of they're being announced by a sound or whatever. The Prowler's sound or his horn or whatever it is just
sounds like a foghorn.
It sounds like a foghorn
pitched up,
and it's just got this just like that very it grabs your attention really fast,
Right.
and it has that instinct of dread or terror that something's coming that is going to hurt you in some capacity or not.
Right. And then the best one of those, after they've trained you to listen for this, is when you're in Uncle Aaron's apartment. And he takes the mask off and you see Uncle Aaron, and then they play the siren. You're going, and I knew Aaron Davis was the Prowler.
Yeah.
But was not expecting it. Y'all played this off perfectly because I temporarily forgot.
Oh yeah. And the one that was really good because they're like you said, it'd be like they train you to figure out when the Prowler is coming.
Mm-hmm.
So the one that got
or have I started thinking of him, Batman Deadpool. He's got Deadpool-like mask.
True.
And he stands around like Batman.
That is true.
Especially that one shot when Miles is first getting away and he's standing on top of that building looking at him.
Oh yeah.
Just like the ending of the Batman animated series theme song.
Oh yeah.
Just as you hear the it's like, good night. You might as well have lightning going off behind him.
That would have been good. But like Drew said, be like the fact that they like we've been trained to figure out where he's coming from. So when we get to the big battle at Aunt May's house, be like, and it's Miles who picks it up and he hears it coming. It's like, oh crap, here it comes.
Yeah.
And it's so well done. Be like his what did you call it? Be like his call or whatever. I'm sorry.
Oh, the siren.
Yeah, his siren. Be like, you hear that, it's just like it's such genius, like how they use sound throughout this entire movie to just like every fashion. But the Prowler's siren call is so iconic. It's so iconic. It's so well done, and it just makes he makes him a missing character before you see him.
Yes,
and it put me like I remember watching in the theaters. It's like, oh my gosh, be like my spider senses tingling. You're just like, oh crap, here it comes. And it's so well done, so well executed. So yeah, the Prowler's siren is my number 2. What's your number 2?
Also interesting that the place where Uncle Aaron takes Miles to do his graffiti.
Oh yeah.
He says it's a place he worked on an engineering job.
Yeah.
And it's like what, right the other side of that fence is where
the collider
is.
Yeah.
And that's where the spider got to Peter.
Yeah.
Or got to Miles, I mean. Just little interesting tidbits that they didn't point out. They didn't shove in your face and go, look how clever we're being. They were just clever,
Yeah.
and we got to enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's all I want, people.
Yeah.
Be clever. Don't point it out.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Subtlety. Speaking of subtlety and cleverness,
Okay.
my second the reveal of Dr. Olivia Octavius.
Oh, that was good. That was.
Oh,
good.
I remember
Gosh.
when I was first watching this on December 14th, 2018.
Mhm.
And because you first see her on that movie thing that they're watching in class.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is if you're paying attention, Miles does a good job of blocking her name when the lower thirds pops up.
It does.
So that we don't actually get spoiled on who it
We
is.
don't, which is clever. It's
Very,
like-
very clever. And then they bring up says, they're going over the plan. Peter and Miles are. He says, oh, I know who's got all that information. That would be the lady with the bike in that movie we watched. Says, oh, great, I'll follow her. And she's like, you're thinking, okay, this is interesting. Where you're going with this?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I did not notice the fact that all the light fixtures in her office had 8, but I like that. But that whole scene there where she's talking to Peter B, and she finally says, oh, it's going to be very painful all the way to the end. And I'm so going to enjoy watching you die.
Oh my gosh.
And you're going,
yes.
and I
What
remember
the-
watching it going, what? And he says, and and Peter asks her, would you say your name was again? Dr. Olivia Octavius. And she takes her jacket off and her, I don't know what that material is that makes up her octopus arms.
Yeah.
Rubber. The air look like air-filled rubber arms.
Yeah. They
It's a
did.
different way of doing it, but it's like it looks cool. And it pushes her up so that she's now towering above Spider-Man,
Mhm.
like all the good
Good-
Doc Ocks do at
villains.
some point.
Yes.
And he says, don't tell me your friends call you Doc Ock. She says, no, my friends actually call me Liv. My
Liz.
enemies call me Doc Ock. Which is very interesting when you get to the fight at Aunt May's house.
Yes.
And Dr. Octavius shows up, and what does May Parker say?
Oh, great.
Oh, great, it's Liz. It's like, y'all were friends at some point.
It's like, how does this?
Of course, technically, I mean, Doc Ock did ask Aunt May out in the comic books a number of times after Ben died.
That is, I remember that. Yes.
So, not going there.
No.
Not going there at all. But it's all that's very interesting, and it's never shoved in your face until
Agreed.
the moment it makes sense when it's reveal time.
Right.
And it's like, Dr. Olivia Octavius, and they don't have to finish. We know who she is.
She's Doc Ock.
She's Doc Ock, the best villain Spider-Man's ever fought, in my humble opinion, because Doc Ock's my favorite Spider-Man villain.
True. Okay.
And honestly, Catherine Hahn and Alfred Molina, in my opinion, are the only people who've played the character good. Just putting that out there.
I got you.
What's your third like?
My third like would be Miles' story.
Mhm.
Miles' story. It's reminiscent of our comic book world Spider-Man. It's like obviously he's African American, Latino, and they mix it up a little bit, which is cool.
Right.
And that's one of the things I love about this film is that they don't start trying to shove everything in your face. It's just more like he's a regular kid. He's trying to get along with everybody. Like he's a bit nerdy. Be like he likes art, which I like art. Be like maybe not his art, but I like art. But it's more his story of how he becomes the man he becomes.
Right.
And it's more be like he is shoved into this responsibility. He's bit by the radioactive spider
Mhm.
that gives him all these incredible powers. And he's like Peter, when he first got his powers, be like, I don't want this. This is not my responsibility. And then like he's introduced to his world's Peter, who is subsequently killed, and he has to take on the mantle of Spider-Man.
Yes, because with great ability comes great accountability. Jeff.
Jeff.
Wrong Jeff.
I know. I just playing off that. But I love his progression from a very hesitant young man who is overwhelmed by everything, because we're all overwhelmed by be like if you're thrust into something you don't know, And fear sticks in because we all be like, there again, we're very we are all prone to fear and prone to wonder, as the old
Yes.
hymn used to say.
Indeed.
And like, it's the idea of be like, I just want to run. Be like, I don't understand this. I want to learn. I want to try to figure out because I want to try to be responsible, but I'm scared. And so it's Miles and his father, that relationship with him, and like the bombardment, all these other Spider-Man who have Spider-Man and Spider-Woman have kind of, or Spider-Women, sorry, have come in and are trying to teach him, but he's being overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
And then it just simply takes the death of his uncle, who was the Prowler, a man he looked up as a father, and then his own biological father telling him just be yourself. Just be yourself. Be like, and I'm going to support you for who you are.
Well, and it helps that when he's tied to the chair, he gets actually time to think.
Yeah,
because up to that point, it's been nonstop.
It actually slows down.
Yeah, from the time he runs into to Peter B. Parker until Peter B. Parker ties him to the chair.
Yeah,
it's been nonstop for him and the gang.
Yeah, exactly.
In reality.
Yeah, and it's just, like you said, it's that time to kind of reflect and be like, there again, he just lost his uncle. He just lost his uncle. He's gone through a lot at this point, and he has to listen to his father, and he can't run away. He has to listen to his father, what he's trying to say, because he's a young man who is just trying to be something, and he's got to listen to wise wisdom from his father, and that what sparks his inspiration to become Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And once he finds that inspiration, he becomes the hero he is destined to be, as in Miles Morales, Spider-Man. And I really, his transformation into Spider-Man, or at least his world's version of Spider-Man, is like, it's the typical journey of a character, just done differently. It'd be like, it's a man who has to forge his own path it's a young man who has to forge his own path, while others are trying to encourage him to do so. And it takes that little spark from someone he cares about, someone he loves, and the death of someone he loves in order to launch him into becoming the man he is destined to be. And I really, really enjoy that as Miles Morales, Spider-Man, as a character. So it's my number 3. What's yours?
Ironically, our villain's backstory, the Kingpin.
Oh, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. I mean, the Kingpin has always been a very hot-headed character.
A little bit.
Cool on the outside, but a raging bull on the inside.
Yeah.
And of course, I love that they made him comically huge.
Oh, of course.
In this version. Because he's supposed to be a big guy, but he's not supposed to be, an actual mountain, except in this version he is. Which makes those couple of family photos that we do get to see with him and his wife and son odd looking, but fair. It's like, I could see this.
Yeah.
But the way they show the entire thing, they don't tell you that they're dead.
Yeah.
At first. All you see is the family photos while he's clicking his pen.
Yeah.
It's amazing how the clicking of that pen just tells you how mad and angry he is.
Yeah.
Trying not to explode. But as they show that over and over again, and then you get to actually where we get to see what actually happened.
Yeah.
Where they walked in on him taking out a guy.
Yeah.
No, it's taking out.
He's about to beat up Spider-Man.
He was about to beat up Spider-Man. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And they walk in on it, and of course he panics. It's like, no, it's okay. It's he's trying to say, I don't know what he's trying to say, but he's trying not to, for them not to get scared and run off. Of course they do. And then they're in a car, and then as they're escaping, they get hit by an 18-wheeler.
Yeah.
And that's why he's trying to bring them back.
Yeah.
With the collider. Of course, doesn't occur to him that even if he's successful and they are much more stable than the spider people are, they're not his wife and son.
Yeah, exactly.
They're another Kingpin's wife and son. They don't know this Kingpin.
Yeah.
So
It also kind of reminds me of
that part
Doc-
never occurs to him, but I think this. I'll let you say your thing in a
go
minute.
ahead.
But the part that gets me is when during the big fight on the train,
Yeah.
in the collider, that shot when he's reaching, when he sees them again trying to form, and he reaches out to them, and the scene shifts to him reaching out the back of the train as it's trundling off into the darkness.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, that is such a powerful shot.
Agreed.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so this whole scene reminds me of another Marvel film, as in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
With Wanda and her journey in order to find her lost boys.
Yes.
To go throughout the multiverse in order to find them. And so what she finds, like she goes through she does all these horrendous and terrible things in order to achieve her goal of finding her boys, and she finally finds them. And they're scared to death of her.
Yeah, because she's not their mother.
No, they're not.
They know they're her mother. They looks a lot like her.
Yeah, just not her.
But it's not her.
Yeah, because it's that.
And she realizes it at that point. It's like I can't get replacements.
No, can't.
Not this side of Mephistopheles, anyway.
But it's just this. Like, yeah, just when you start talking about that, it's like, yeah, that instantly reminded me of the most recent Doctor Strange film. And it's so well done of how Fisk is he is doggedly determined no matter what happens, I'm going to have my family back. And he doesn't think about the ramifications of that. He doesn't care about anything else. So he's so goal oriented that
its ends justify the means.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem is the end's not what he wants. It's not the ends he's trying to get.
Exactly.
He's going to be even if it had all worked and there had been no other ramifications, it still wouldn't have been his wife and son.
No. And it's sad because we have this idea in our own worlds, in our own minds, in our own hearts, that we want something that maybe from our past we lost, but ultimately it's not about be like if we strive towards something from our past and be like, well, like it's ultimately like it's futile in a way.
Yeah,
because that was the past. To be like that is already come and gone, and this idea that we need to move forward with our lives and not be overwhelmed and being consumed by something we lost, because there have been plenty of people who have lost their way in life because they a loved one passed away or they lost their love of their life, and so they never move forward. And that's what Fisk was doing. That's what Wanda's doing.
Yeah.
And it drives them to do despicable things in order to achieve something that they'll never gain back.
Yes.
Instead of be like just moving forward in life. And so, yeah, it's a good morality tale.
Yeah.
That you need to move forward because
like Miles ends up doing.
Yeah, exactly. He moves forward in his, because if Miles had not gone through that journey of the development into becoming Spider-Man and the death of his uncle, it literally would have just stopped there and he would have just dwelled on the death of his uncle for the rest of his life.
Meanwhile, Peter B. Parker would be stuck in that universe until he died a horrible, painful death.
Exactly. So it's like,
if not more of the Spider people doing that.
Exactly. It's that contrast where Miles moves forward with his life and becomes the man he's supposed to be, where Fisk is trying to go backwards. And he's trying to do everything he can to go back, and he can't.
Right.
And he's stuck. And so that's what ultimately led down to his downfall, because he could not move forward.
Agreed.
I just made that up on the fly.
We got dislikes to get into.
We do.
What's your first one?
My first dislike. Okay, so when Aunt May lets them the first time into the spider den, I guess you would call it,
the spider cave.
The spider cave. It's Miles is looking up at Peter Parker's old suit.
Yes.
And there again, Miles is a young teenager. And I'm thinking like, Because I'm like, and so he goes back and he's able to modify Peter's old suit. I'm like, unless you've grown like several inches, you're not getting in that suit.
So one thing is that Miles, and they de-emphasize this throughout
Yeah.
most of the film till that
Right.
point, is that when Miles got bit by the spider, he grew 2 inches.
Well, that makes sense, but he's
Now,
still,
that may not be enough 2 inches,
no,
but
yeah,
at the same time, I'm not 100% sure that that was not just like a spare regular Spider-Man suit that was hanging around, maybe from when Peter was smaller.
it could be.
Because the Peter in this is what, 25, 26?
Yeah, he's
from that
he's-
universe.
Yeah,
And, you know, Miles is 15, 16.
something like that.
I mean, conceivably, I mean, it's probably a little bunched up. He probably had to do some modifications to make it
Yeah,
fit.
I could see that.
And I can possibly see, you know, the spider cave with all its cool gadgets, maybe having a way to auto size it. Plus, all the spider suits for some reason can make their eyes move, which makes no sense, but it looks cool and I don't care. So
right.
I can also claim, oh yeah, it's got an auto fit feature.
Okay, fair. But
Fair, yeah. I'm just rationalizing.
yes, I completely understand your rationalization of it. It's just like from a outward perspective, it's like it's like a certain CW show. I watched the first episode. It took me 3 days to watch it. I didn't like the episode whatsoever. I disagree with everything it was saying, but it was more you had to modify a suit that a man who is very large, and somehow you make it fit in this itty bitty little person's body. Doesn't really work. But anyways, I'm not going to go into that tangent again.
4 years ago, you went off on that tangent, and I didn't cut you off fast enough on that one. So
That is true. But it just kind of
before
reminded
you
me of
repeated
that.
yourself
It
3
kinda-
times.
Yes, I'm not going to repeat myself again.
Anyway,
So yes, like my first is like maybe more of a like not disgruntled, but more of a
nitpick.
Be like, how does little young Miles Morales fit into 25-year-old 6 foot something Peter Parker's old suit? I like your rationalization, but it's just like, okay.
My question is, since he spray painted that suit,
Oh my gosh.
that's going to smell like heck.
Yeah.
Especially if you sweated in it after a while.
Yeah.
They ain't going to breathe.
No, it's not.
B, once that paint is cured,
You're kind of stuck.
no, you're not necessarily stuck, but you're going to develop cracks all over that are not very web-like. Well, they're kind of web-like, but they're not going to look right.
No, they're not.
But beside the point, my first dislike are the fact that Green Goblin, Tombstone, and the Scorpion are glorified minions in this movie.
They are. They
It really
are.
does feel like, because they have been trying for years to try to get a Sinister Six movie.
They have.
No Way Home was technically that movie, if you really think about it.
Agreed.
But they tried it here, and they, just like the Spider People, they only focused on 3 villains:
Yeah.
Kingpin, Prowler, and Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Green Goblin, bless his heart, even though he's actually the first villain we see in this.
Yeah. Agreed.
Not counting Uncle Aaron.
Even though we didn't know it was Uncle Aaron.
Right. But yeah, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Scorpion, and Tombstone. I mean, Tombstone's not that big a villain, but he kind of is.
He's an enforcer.
Well, no, I mean popularity wise,
Yeah.
he's not as well known a
That is
villain
true.
as Gobby or Scorpion.
Yeah.
is. Scorpion's not so much, but I remember Scorpion a lot from the original TV series.
Yeah.
Tombstone is that villain who every time I see him show up in something, I go, "Who are you again?" I know I've seen you, and I never know what your power actually is, other than you're as hard as a rock. That's all I know about you.
I gotcha.
So, but the fact that they're just glorified minions at this point, like they ought to be going around like talking in gibberish, looking for bananas. I'm waiting for you to catch what I'm referencing.
Okay.
the Minions
Oh gosh, yes. Okay.
from
Touche.
from Despicable Me.
Banana.
Banana. Anyway, the fact that they are just glorified thugs.
I
really, I
agree.
say minions, but they're thugs. They're no better than like the lead gang member in their own gangs in this film underneath Kingpin, and that's just kind of disappointing, especially since Goblin in this one is a Hulk monster.
Well, he's more based on the Ultimate Universe.
Right, because I mean, Miles Morales originally was the second Ultimate
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I get that, but I still look at it and go, you are not Willem Dafoe.
No, you're not.
But anyway, Willem Dafoe is my favorite Gobby. Anyway, your second dislike.
My second dislike is there again, it's a nitpick, but like you have so much focus on obviously Miles, Peter B. Parker, Spider-Gwen, and then you get like the rest of the cast who are be like, obviously Peter Parker is amazing. He's just funny in everything he does. But then you have poor Penny, who is just be like,
Penny actually has a very sad story.
she does.
When
I
you
agree.
look at it, it's like she was the one who had lost the most in this adventure.
Yeah.
She not only lost her father's mech that the spider runs around in, originally the spider was going to die too.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
They decided that was too dark. It's like, yeah,
You think?
bad enough you killed the mech and she's going to have to build a new one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It's just like there again, be like you're running with you have a runtime, you have a tight script,
Right.
and you can't go into like all the big depth you want to. It's not like a comic or a cartoon series
Mhm.
where you can stretch things out. Where be like you have Spider Noir and Penny Parker, and am I forgetting somebody?
Peter Porker.
Yeah, Peter Parker. Look,
Those are those three.
that is true because there again, Peter Parker just shines in every scene he is. But I
Yeah.
think Penny just kind of gets the
She gets the shaft
she gets the shaft in this movie.
because you know nothing about her. She gets one cool scene where she's reprogramming the goober,
Yeah,
the jump drive, but
Yeah.
they call it the goober
Goober.
throughout the whole thing,
yeah,
which I like. And it's like, okay, that's cool and all. It's a jump drive.
yeah.
You didn't need to go at it with soldering irons. You just need to load it into a USB port and move the files over.
That is true. Well, I did.
Well, they did have to actually program a worm to get into the system. I give you that.
I
much.
got you.
But at the same time, it's like you don't actually have to do the solder onto the jump drive to pull that off. But whatever.
Yeah, because I read somewhere that originally they were going to use Silk, which is another Spider Woman character,
Right.
But they wanted to use Penny because her power sets are different.
Yeah.
and I mean, like it's cool, but there again, her character is underutilized throughout this entire film, and she's only in the film for like less than 20 minutes. Maybe?
All three of them of the secondary spider
Yeah.
group, they're only literally, as Peter Porker says at the end of Caught in a Ham, I'm going to show up in the last 60 at minute 65 in the film, and the film's only an hour and a half long.
Yeah,
So it's like, yeah, you're barely in the film, but you still actually it's about 2 hours long.
yeah,
But anyway,
yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's not long. Not as long as, like,
It's not.
it's
long.
after we've got a ton of people, and she only gets like one scene
Mhm.
really to herself. Every
Yeah.
other scene, she's saying her parts of it, but
Mhm.
it's because everyone else is saying basically the same things.
Agreed.
Like she lost her father while everyone else lost either Uncle Ben or Peter
Mm-hmm.
and Uncle Frankfurter.
My gosh. But yeah, that was just like she
That really
she-
puts the fact that he was eating those hot dogs
oh
in a whole nother. At one point, that's just like weird because that's cannibalism technically.
my gosh, you're right. Oh my,
But now that it's his Uncle Frankfurter,
oh my gosh.
anyway.
Yeah, now it's just more like, oh, you stupid spider pig.
Spider Pig does whatever a spider pig does. Can he swing from a web? No, he can't. He's a pig. We will never review the Simpsons movie on this show because neither one of us care that much. But that's the main thing I remember from that.
Yes. But yeah, it's Penny Porker's lack of she's developed in the movie, but it's not enough to where it's just like because Noir he's a cool, mysterious character.
You know exactly who he is when you see him.
Yeah, and then you get Spider Ham. He just eats up all the lines, and then poor
and then
Penny
is like
raps.
She gets a couple of things, but she doesn't even get to walk around in the Spider-Man suit like everybody else does during the infiltration scene. She has to be in her mech underneath the bread cart.
Yeah,
it's like okay.
Yeah, you gotta use her for something, but yeah,
hopefully she'll get some more room in the sequel to do something.
Or they'll just use Scarlet Spider. Just please use his character.
No, here's what I'm thinking, because I think it's a Guardians of the Galaxy problem.
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy has 5 core characters.
Yeah.
Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Groot, and Rocket. 6 characters. Sorry.
Yeah, 6 characters. Yeah.
Same number of spider people here.
Yes.
And yet, if you think about it, Rocket gets almost no story in that first movie.
I agree. He doesn't.
Groot gets almost no story in that first movie.
Yeah.
We get little things here and there about like we get with Peter Porker and Penny and Spider-Man Noir here. But honestly, in that runtime, you don't have a lot of time to show on it. So they focus solely on Quill, Star-Lord, Gamora, and Drax. Because they're the ones who all had something outside of Star-Lord, because Star-Lord is the actual protagonist of those things. They're the ones who actually had to deal with Thanos, which is where they introduced Thanos properly, is in that movie.
Yes.
So I suspect that, we focused on Miles as the main character, plus Peter B and Spider-Gwen, because they were, the easiest to focus on because they were closest to Miles in terms of character.
Yes, agreed.
Maybe in the next one we'll get maybe a few more scenes with, because I think our core 6, Spider-Man Noir, Peter Porker, and Penny have to be like our core 6 in the movies going forward in these. Awesome. And then we get more Spider-Man in there. Here's hoping that we get Spider-Man from the Henshin Hero Spider-Man show with his giant robot Leo Pardon, the emissary from hell.
My gosh. So yeah, that is my second dislike.
Yes, my second dislike is Spider-Ham Caught in a Ham is a separate short from the film.
Yeah.
It's a separate thing. And it's like, no, you should have played this at the beginning, like a Looney Tunes short back in the day. It would have been accepted. This one, if Coco can start with a half-hour short with Olaf from Frozen, you can do 5 minutes with Spider-Ham.
Yeah.
And people will disconnect that quickly enough. It's like, okay, that's just the funny short before the real film. They'll disconnect it until you get all the way to, when he shows back up and you go, you're back. Just saying.
Yeah, agreed.
That short should have been in theaters. Which is why every single time I go back to watch this film on Blu-ray, I start with Spider-Ham.
There you go.
And then I watch the movie.
Awesome.
Because that is the optimal viewing method. Anyway, what is your third dislike?
I really don't have a third dislike.
I have one.
Okay, go for it.
That weird focus effect that this film uses throughout it, where anything that's not in focus looks like it's got color separation.
Yeah.
I know it's trying to mimic maybe out of registration errors in like a printed page.
Yeah.
But every time I watch it, those first couple minutes before my brain resets and is paying full attention to, what's actually going on and not being distracted by that, I'm thinking, am I watching a 3D movie without the glasses on?
Makes sense.
It looks what it looks like.
Yeah.
It looks like you're watching a 3D film without the glasses and the color. And it's not separated enough for it to actually look, like garbage. It's just close enough. It's like, something's not right here, but I don't know what it is.
Right.
And I wish they didn't do that because it throws me every time for like 5 minutes. Granted, by the time you get out of that initial Who Am I Spider-Man montage, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But that first bit where you're getting used to the whole shebang, it's like, because it looks so different from anything else that's ever been done. One of the things I like about this movie that I didn't mention is that it looks different from anything else that's ever been done.
Agree.
For this sort of thing. But that first couple minutes when I'm trying to get back into get into it, it's like something didn't look right. Something looks weird. It's not Uncanny Valley. What is it? Oh yeah, it's that weird focus effect this movie has. I will get used to it and then it won't matter. But right now I'm gonna have to put up with it. And it messes with me every time. I wish they would have, much like the actual comic book effects.
Yeah.
I wish they would had started off as normal. Like normal 3D, still have the actual look for it, don't get me wrong, but start off like very normal and then have it have that focus come in with everything else so that it's communicative and not distracting.
Fair.
That's just my opinion. But yeah, that's my last dislike. Jacob, you, as I said earlier, your score previously on this movie was a 9. What is your score now?
Has it changed or not? It has. It's a 9.5.
Oh,
like
gone up.
It's gone up. Be like, I really enjoyed this film for what it is. It has such like depth to how they're doing storytelling. Like Drew said, be like, there's so much like things to like watch for and how they what's a good word for that? They but like all the subtle details of what they try to put into it without being like having to like audibly say something.
Right.
Be like just a
lot of show don't tell.
Yeah, a lot of show don't tell. And it's so well done, so well executed as a film. The animation itself just blows my mind. And the character development, the Prowler Siren is just so well done. It's just like amazing. And it's definitely changed my mind. It's as definitely as a now quasi veteran reviewer. Let's air quote this reviewer.
You're just saying that because you've seen a movie we no longer talk about.
Oh.
And I don't mean Titanic. The legend goes on.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is so true.
Bad movie month really puts a lot of things in perspective.
Does. Oh my gosh, we don't talk about Leo.
No, we do not.
Oh my gosh. But yes, this is a fantastic movie. It needs to be a movie that you need to watch if you're. I'd be like, I don't care if you're not a comic book fan.
Yeah, this is
a nerdy nerd kind of person. This kind of movie, like just cinema wise, storytelling, animation wise, it is golden. Go watch it, go rent it, go buy it, go watch it, and then get ready for the next one to come out.
Yes, and hopefully it will be just as good.
Exactly,
because that's actually my biggest worry. Is we're going to get the second one, and it's like, yeah, it's gonna be like the Lego movie, the after Lego movies, the Lego Batman movie and the Lego Ninjago movie, and even though we hadn't reviewed it yet, the Lego Movie 2, where the first movie is great. It's amazing how much work they put into this. The second movie, it's an also ran. I'm really worried that's what it's going to be.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We will see.
That is so true, because they're like for myself, be like, I have little hesitation towards this new one, because there again we're in a new this came out in 2018 again.
2018, pre-pandemic, and how the world is now. Be like, I'm scared they're gonna kind of mess with it, and we'll see,
make it what it is. But
if you're worried that there's going to be a Spider-Man walking around with a surgical mask on, I can almost guarantee it.
Probably.
But anyways,
but I don't want to get into.
He'll actually be a surgeon. though.
Well, I was referring to more like, more
Spider-Man
political
Sorcerer
stuff.
Supreme.
That would be hilarious.
I'm fairly certain that exists.
Oh yeah, it does. It was in What If.
And I'm fine with this.
Yes, but yeah. What was your original score?
I originally gave this a 9.5, and you want to know what? It did not change. Granted, I am at a point now, I think, where I've watched this where I might be running out of cool little details to spot in the background.
Yeah,
because no movie is perfect, and
it's not.
And it's only been 5 years, and I've watched it 5 times. It's going to start running dry at some point.
Yeah,
but this is still like a little great movie. I still saw little things here and there.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, that's so cool how much attention they put into this. Like I said, attention to details, one of my favorite things about this movie. It didn't change because it's a fun film. Like you say, if you have any interest in animation, you need to watch this film just to see all the little things they did.
Agreed.
This is the first of what I call the 2.5D films, because we later on would see similar stuff with Klaus and something else that came out rather recently that did this. I can't think of what it is right now.
Either.
But anyway, this was the first of those 2.5D, and all that I mean by that is it's obviously 3D models, but there's just enough of that 2D touch, that hand-drawn aesthetic.
Yeah.
That honestly we have missed since the last 2D films really got done.
Agreed.
I say that like they're all dead, knowing perfectly well that there was a My Little Pony movie in 2017 or 2018, whatever year that was all 2D.
Yeah.
CG 2D, but 2D.
Right.
But and of course there's anime that does 2D all the stinking time.
Agreed.
But this is just a perfect it's not a perfect movie. Like I said, there's still flaws.
Yeah.
But the fact that they can do all this and at no point are you saying that doesn't work?
Yeah.
The fact that we didn't mention this during the escape from Alchemax, and while Miles is learning how to swing, he's being animated on 2s, while Peter B. Parker is being animated on 1s in the same scene.
That's right.
And for those of you who have no idea what I just said, if you are animating on 1s, every single frame of animation is animated, whereas animated on 2s, it's every other. They literally every 2 frames is the same. So 2 frames, it'll change for the next 2 frames. They did that to point out subtly, because you can't, if you don't know to look for it, you really can't spot it.
Yeah.
But subtly you recognize that Miles is a little clunkier.
Yeah.
With his web swinging than Peter B is. And they go to that much trouble, and they didn't have to.
Yeah.
Just for that alone, it's worth seeing this to see how.
Gotcha.
And the fact that it looks good. It shouldn't. It really shouldn't look as good as it does.
Yeah.
Everything they did in this, because it breaks like so many of what I think of as rules, and yet it works perfectly.
Agreed.
So yeah. It's a 9.5, and really, when you get right down to it, what's holding me back is that initial focus effect. Because let's face it, I can watch Spider-Ham as soon as I turn it on every time. So, yeah, we need to move on to our next segment.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and go into intermission right now.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest the Retro Rewind podcast. Every other week, join the Retro Rewind pod as they travel back 15 years or more along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today and what isn't. Expect fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco, Paul, the Master Interrupter Powers, and a rotating cast of guest hosts, all of which are out of time.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Josh Adams, Ashley Ruiz, Book of Gaming.
And
To get your
pauljpowers.com.
name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast Plus reviews, and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
Why do I find that funny that I pause Paul to put Paul's name in there
It's still
so that
funny.
he interrupts the recording?
Yes.
Anyway, we have silly some conversation going on in our
do.
thing before we get back to the show. Artsy Stuff is hanging out in here.
Thank you, Artsy.
We appreciate you showing up here. She says, let me back up here. Yes, she says more spider mechs. Yes, I agree. We need more spider mechs.
Agreed.
Gotta say, Spider Ham is pretty great, especially with John Mulaney.
Mm-hmm.
That awkward silence. Apparently, that was when I mentioned that movie we don't talk about anymore.
Oh, yes.
Klaus's animation is glorious. Lolo for your soul. I don't get that. Sorry.
Okay.
Apparently, she thinks Deedla is British Siri. She says it's science. And Eeyore. Oh, Ao. That's Ao, not Eeyore. I was confused.
I thought I was the one with the reading disorder.
No, sometimes. Okay, in my defense, from my angle, the camera is in the way of the chat window.
Okay, fair enough.
So I'm kind of having to do this number and still talk into the microphone.
True.
And so, yeah, when I first looked at that,
Io makes
it
sense.
says Io there. I can see Io there, but over here, because of the cord hanging down, I converted one of those O's into an R.
Oh, bother.
She says, I was going to say you're reading far. Yes, I am, because that TV is way over there. It's on the other side of the room. Anyway.
And this isn't a big apartment either.
No, but still. We need to jump into our full, into the, what we've been watching. That's the next thing.
Yes.
So, Jacob, I have a question for you, my friend.
What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Not a whole lot, really.
Really?
As far as I remember, it's been a long week.
It has been a long week.
I've literally gotten home after like almost 6 o'clock every night.
Mhm.
Now, granted, I'd be like, it's not, oh, poor pitiful me. It's just like how the schedule worked out.
Yeah.
And
you just didn't get a chance to watch anything.
No, I didn't. I don't think I did. Be like, I watched this movie. I watched the
X-Men thing we're going to review in a minute
for TAS, and just I watched a lot of like airline disaster reviews and that kind of stuff. There again, I'm a true crime kind of nut, and I like that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's
See, if I remember correctly, Airplane Disasters is that movie where they solve airplane crashes by pointing at a whiteboard and saying the problem is somewhere here.
Not quite.
It's a joke.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, we can solve this in 5 minutes.
I'm just saying the filming technique they use for the obviously fictional recreations of the investigation sometimes repeats itself, despite the fact it probably didn't go that way in real life.
That is true. That is so true. So yeah, that is all I've been watching. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
How about you? What did you? Oh yeah,
I've been watching more Power Rangers Turbo.
Oh yeah, that's right. Didn't you watch like a movie like? Hold on. Didn't the movie that came out? Like movie that movie just came out recently.
You mean that movie?
No, not that movie.
Oh, okay,
not that movie. Movie that recently came out in theaters about a certain like little guy who turns into a big guy and stuck in a quantumverse.
Getting to that.
Okay.
Jumping aheading person.
Okay.
I'm talking about Power Rangers Turbo.
We don't talk about Turbo.
Except I will talk about Turbo.
Okay.
Because I'll put it this way. It is the worst of the Zordon era.
Okay.
It is not the worst Power Rangers season.
Okay.
Not by a long shot. But I did see what has got to be the goofiest episode of Power Rangers I've ever watched.
Okay.
So, the main villain of Turbo is Divatox.
Yes.
there's an episode where she gets amnesia
Okay.
and works at a pizza restaurant in costume, and gets that southern diner waitress voice kind of thing going on at one point.
Yeah.
Bulk and Skull are delivering pizzas for this restaurant, by the way, so that's funny. And of course, the monster of the week comes from the logo of this pizza restaurant.
Of course.
And there is a line in this that is so absolutely ridiculous, it bears repeating.
Oh.
The evil pizzas were no match for a stoplight. Because at one point,
Womp, womp, womp.
the by this point they have the little sidecar thing.
Yeah.
Not sidecars. I'm not talking about the go-karts.
Yeah.
I'm talking like the red wind chaser thing, not the Zords, but the two other cards that that the Red Ranger gets. Makes sense. And Justin gets, the child.
Yeah.
Who shouldn't. Yes, I know. You don't have to have a driver's license to drive a Zord.
Oh my gosh, that line.
But guess what? That's not a Zord.
It's just
a Jeep. And yet he gets it. At least the red one flies. The blue one is an on the ground car because it's a Jeep. But
it can
the Jeep gets taken control of by the pizza monster by evil pizzas attaching itself to the wheels and the steering wheel. And the blue Centurion is able to stop it by throwing up a stoplight, a traffic signal with a red light, and the car came to a stop and the pizzas flew off of it and it was back in the Ranger's control. What? I watched this and went, huh? Dude, it bears watching just for the stupidity of it.
Okay.
And if we had time when we got done with this tonight, I'd throw that episode in a heartbeat just to see your face. But we don't have that kind of time tonight.
I can go watch it on YouTube.
Yes, you can. That name of that episode is I'll recognize it when I see it. It's not Trouble by the Slice.
Oh my gosh. They were
just so stupid. That whole episode would be my I don't remember what Power Ranger the Power Ranger show Power Trip calls it. But on when I was on Henshin Men, it was What the Henshin. Oh, I remember what Power Trip calls it. The I can't believe that just happened award. This would make it.
Oh,
It was goofy and it was funny.
Okay, totally get it.
But speaking of other characters who are based, whose current design is actually based on a Henshin hero.
Okay.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah.
Did you know that Ant-Man's suit is based on Ultraman?
I didn't know that.
But you can see it now, can't you?
I can.
Yeah. That is an interesting movie. It is different from the other two Ant-Man movies.
Okay.
Probably the only negative thing you can really say about it. I say only negative thing. It's the main negative thing most people will say about it.
Mm.
But I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to spoil anything because you really should watch it for yourself.
Okay, fair.
But there was one character who they should have. I think they should have done something different with. I'll just say that.
Okay.
But if you are wanting to make sure you're caught up before you watch the film, along with maybe going back and watching Ant-Man and the Wasp, Endgame, that's the main story it's following. You may, or Ant-Man's main story, you may want to go back and watch Loki. That TV show.
Ah.
I'm not going to tell you why.
Okay.
But you should.
Okay.
it will help you understand a lot more about what's going on than the Ant-Man films will. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Artsy Steph in our chat knows exactly what the other character I'm thinking of is. And I was not talking about the bobbleheaded character there, Artsy. I was talking about the blue-headed guy. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Let's just say, hey, actually, Artsy, you are right about the character. I think they should have done something different with, especially when they reveal who that person actually is. But anyway, other than that, I've not had a chance to watch anything else, to be honest, outside of what we needed to be watched for this show. So why don't we go ahead and jump into the news? Hang on.
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why thank you, Dealit? And for this week's bit of news, it's not a whole lot, but obviously with the runaway success of Guillermo del Toro's, I want to say Pocahontas, but it's not Pocahontas. Pinocchio, which movie we have not seen yet, or I haven't seen yet.
I haven't seen it yet either, but I think it's on our list.
It is. It is on our list.
Yeah.
But so with that runaway success of that film, it is already being greenlit that
they're making a sequel.
No, they're not making a sequel. They're making a sequel, an adaptation of a fantasy novel called The Burned Giant, and it has been confirmed that the film will be in stop motion like Pinocchio.
Oh, okay.
And it'll be set on Netflix, and there is no release date yet, but they have confirmed that this film is in production right now. So it'll probably be like another year or so before this film's completed. So
The Bird Giant.
The Bird Giant. It's based off of it's an adaptation. I'm going to butcher this name. I apologize for Kurzuro. Sorry. Is Higuro's fantasy novel.
Hang on.
You're better at that than I am.
Yeah. Got to find it on here first. The Buried Giant.
The Buried Giant.
I thought you were saying the Bird Giant, not expecting this to be about a giant bird.
No.
That makes more sense.
No.
Okay, sorry. I can't see the name now. Kazuo Ishiguro.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Kazuo. Just say Kazuo.
Kazuo. Okay.
Or Kaz.
Kazuo.
Kaz.
Kazuo.
Anyway. Doesn't matter.
Whatever. But yeah, apparently this movie is in development right now, with Guillermo del Toro as director, and what Guillermo del Toro does best.
Yeah, don't feel bad about having a hard time saying Guillermo del Toro's name, because remember when they were filming Pan's Labyrinth, the little girl who was the main character of that couldn't say his name either.
Really?
So he gave her permission to call him Totoro-san.
Totoro-san? I didn't know that. But
my neighbor Guillermo del Toro. Whole nother movie.
But yes, another one of the that film should be coming out in a couple of years on Netflix.
Actually, Artsy Steph, you're right. I think that was Pacific Rim. Same difference. It's still funny.
Oh my gosh.
I just got my movies confused. What you're saying makes a lot more sense because Pan's Labyrinth, she was French, not Japanese.
Yeah, she was French. Which I've seen Pacific Rim. I haven't seen Pan's Labyrinth yet.
I'll put it this way. You liked the two good Hellboy movies?
Yes.
You'll like Pan's Labyrinth.
Okay.
Notice I was very specific on which one. If you want more information on our feelings
on
Hellboy,
yeah,
go listen to our old podcast.
Yeah.
The Movie of the Week podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, go give that a listen. Give that old show some love. And oh my gosh, it's a terrible movie.
I liked what they were trying. It's
I
just
agree.
you took out the main reason I loved those movies. I like those movies, which was the actor who played Hellboy, whose name is escaping me at the moment. He's in Nemesis.
He is.
He's in a lot of things. He was the original Beast on that Beauty and the Beast New York City TV show.
That he was.
Cannot think of his name to save my life at the moment. For some reason, I want to say Gamera, but that is definitely not right.
Not Gamera. Yes, he's a whatever Gamera is.
Friend to all children.
What? Yeah, sure, whatever.
You don't
What?
know
I don't know what we're talking about.
You don't know what I mean.
No.
I said Gamera. Ron Perlman. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Oh
You
my
found
gosh.
it. No, you said he was like Gamera, or I said Gamera. And you said, yeah, he's like Gamera. He's like whatever that is. It's like, I thought, I know what you meant to say. You meant to bring up the fact that he's a giant turtle, but I went.
Thank you.
I went with his official title, Friend to All Children.
Anyways.
That is where the Kenny Force comes from.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Don't
so-
forget one of our guests on our last episode was one of those Gamera kiddies. Jimmy from NASA?
Oh, okay.
You've not caught up on MIFE.
No, I'm not.
You need to go, and everyone else go listen to Monster and Film Vault if you like monster movies.
So yeah, that's all I have for the news.
Well then, on that note,
Yes.
it's time for a little bit of X-Men.
Previously on X-Men.
Meet the sulky, over funky, kinda hunky superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically erotic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived. X-Men, X-Men, it's the day, it's the day. X-Men, X-Men, coming your way.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar.
Boy, that was episode tonight.
Yeah.
I like these Wolverines.
I actually like this theme song the more I listen to it.
Yeah, I agree.
X-Men the Animated Series, the end of season 1.
Yay!
We are only reviewing one episode tonight because of the fact that this show has odd numbered episodes for seasons. And tonight's episode is The Final Decision, which originally aired on March 27th, 1993, directed by Larry Houston and written by Mark Edward Eden. In this episode, the X-Men and Magneto team up to stop Master Mold from replacing Senator Kelly's brain with a computer. We have officially are starting to take plot ideas from the worst episode of Star Trek and engage in an all-out battle against thousands of Sentinels. Kelly calls off his anti-mutant campaign, and Beast is finally freed from prison after doing nothing all season long but sit in a jail cell. Oh, he's in the stinking opening sequence, and he barely has done anything so far.
He's quoted
Shakespeare
a lot.
And Detesky?
Detesky.
I can't say his name.
Yeah.
He's very well read.
He's very well read.
Getting into the guest cast, Senator Kelly is played by Lynn Carlson. We also get Magneto,
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
Played by David Himblin. Master Mold and the Sentinels, played by David Fox. Bolivar Trask, played by Brett Halsey. Henry Gyrick, played by Barry Flatman. And at the very end, Mr. Sinister.
Oh, yes.
Being voiced by Christopher Britton. Yeah, that's what I got for guest cast.
All right.
What are your thoughts on this episode? Because there was really no trivia.
Yeah, that's true. There
is one really interesting bit of trivia. When Gambit is getting his mind scanned by Professor X to find the person on Genosha.
That's right, yeah.
You see for 3 seconds, or maybe just a second, Ghost Rider.
That's right, you do.
In his only appearance in the whole series.
Like, what the heck was that?
He will show up. A Ghost Rider will show up on Spider-Man at one point.
Right.
It's not the same one. Because this is not Johnny Blaze. I looked up which one it was because someone with way too much time on their hands figured out from the design which one it was. And I'm like, I didn't think to write that down, but oh well.
Oh, but yeah, like there again, it ties there again. Master Mold was destroyed.
He's still not plugged in.
He's still not plugged.
Are you still plugged in?
Yeah, he's still plugged in. It's like, did you not learn your lesson, Master Mold? Like, have a reserve backpack of power.
Apparently, he didn't because he survived 2 destructions at this point.
Yeah,
he should have been blown up in, what was it, Slave Island? Was that the actual name of the episode?
Moore Island.
No, he wasn't at Muir Island. He was on Slave Island, which was Genosha.
Genosha. I'm sorry, Genosha.
Yeah, and then he blew up in the middle of this one, only to rise up out of the mountain like he's freaking King Ghidorah and say, "You cannot defeat Master Mold." I'm thinking, this is your last episode, isn't it?
Yeah. And then he gets, plowed by the X-Jet.
Yes. Being flown not by Professor X, who was in the pilot seat, but Magneto with his Master of Magnet powers. And the thing is, I realized that technically the trivia that we got from the 3rd episode or the 4th episode about that being the last time Magneto was a villain is technically wrong. In this episode, for a hot minute at the beginning, he was still technically a villain.
Yes, he was. Because this one ties in with the second.
He kidnapped Senator Kelly.
He did. Because he's going to kill Kelly, and then a Sentinel shows up, destroys his ship.
Yes. I love that. It's like, you send a robot to fight the Master of Magnetism. My body is made out of plastic. Not metal. Your point? This entire ship is my weapon.
Oh my gosh. The show.
Oh, this is great.
It is. I agree. It is good.
This is the thing. A couple of these episodes, we watched it. I know I never saw this first season originally, except for maybe Night of the Sentinels.
Yeah.
The rest of this season, I never watched. Not because I wasn't looking for it. I just never caught it on television back in the day.
I remember watching the one where Colossus shows up. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I remember.
I think I vaguely remember the one where Angel gets turned into Archangel by Apocalypse and Mystique.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like, I swear I did not watch this season. And this season has been so weird and interesting.
Yeah.
I am definitely looking forward to where we're going after this.
I agree with you. The fact to be like there again, modern kids nowadays be like, you get to go on Disney Plus and go watch it in order. Back when we were kids, it was like you had to know when the next episode was coming out on Fox Kids and be home to watch it, unless your mom records it for you and it's not watching Days of Our Lives
or some other show that's comes on at that time.
Exactly. Yeah.
I will say this. Previously, when I was a kid and I watched this show, I watched it on a 19-inch CRT television. This is going to sound weird. as much as I would have loved to have watched this on the screen I'm watching it on now as a child, I think it actually has lost something being put in progressive scan and not in interlaced in 480. It's missing something because I think it's because I'm noticing the cheapness of the animation more.
Yeah,
that's about all it can be. Because they are doing, like, I say cheapness of the animation. These character models are very detailed.
Yeah, agreed.
Far more detailed than are easily animatable. And I think that was less obvious in the movements in lower definition on a small screen.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's about the best way I know how to put this, because like I said, in the first episode, the opening sequence while it's the same opening sequence I remember, it's not as smooth as I remember. Some of that is nostalgia, I know that, but some of that is just the simple fact of the technical differences between a 480i signal that Disney Plus is trying to 1080p progressive, or a 480i master being put on 1080p progressive with no interlace scan, not even AI to clean it up. Nothing like that. It's just whatever they had back then, and there's just elements of it that, when viewed in our modern technology, just looks a little But other than that, this episode was a great end to the season.
I agree.
It tied up a couple of loose ends.
It did.
We had a quick reference to Morph without actually showing Morph, because he's not alive again yet. I like how technically I'm not supposed to know Morph comes back. And I have no idea when or how he comes back. I just know he does. And it'll sound just as weird and strange when that happens, too.
Yeah, that's true. And also the fact that, like, Morph was created for this series.
Right,
and
because they didn't want to kill the only Native American X-Men in the first episode. Someone wisely said to them, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. But it's like, apparently the character was so popular, they had to bring him back.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why did you bring him back? Just asking why. Because I remember as a kid watching these later episodes, and I'm like, man, this character is annoying. And I'm guarantee watching this, for season 2 next week is going to be like, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. But we'll get there when we get there.
When we get there.
Yes. But
I will
good
say
ending.
I will say one other thing I liked about this is I guess in my mind I'd forgotten this, but the idea that Rogue and Gambit are a couple. I kind of knew this, but because of the movies where it's everyone's in love with Logan for some reason.
Yeah, which is weird. Yeah.
I forgot that Gambit and Rogue were a couple. Granted, Gambit was never in the movies, so they couldn't.
No.
He was in one of the movies.
Yeah.
And he was played by Will.i.am.
No, he wasn't.
I thought that was who played Gambit in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
No, Will.i.am played like another character, but they had some guy, I don't remember who, but he played Gambit, or he played Remy LeBeau.
I'm just curious. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah,
I'm saying I may be misremembering.
Yeah,
stuff.
I think I know Will.i.am played another character.
Right.
But he Wolverine does team him up with Remy LeBeau, and has a pretty good, interesting fight in that movie.
It has been a while since I've seen a lot of the X-Men live action movies. So, and I just vaguely remember thinking when I watched X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is where he is in that.
That's him.
I remember thinking, for some reason, that was Gambit in that, because it was like a lot of weird choices.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, you had Wade Wilson being played by Ryan Reynolds. That's just an odd choice.
Yeah, it's just like, why would
that'll never work. That's only going to work in this one movie. It'll never happen again.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
That's like saying Ryan Reynolds will play Pikachu one day. Okay, he played John Wraith, who I don't know who that is. In that's who Will.i.am played in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Okay.
Can I just search the character Gambit on here and it will show me?
No, it'd be like you were
Excuse
right
me.
there.
Do
Just go back.
Do you remember which movie Gambit was in?
This one, the movie you're looking at right now, it's right there
Oh,
in front of you.
Taylor Kitsch.
Taylor Kitsch.
I don't know this guy.
Me either.
Who are you, Taylor?
Oh yeah, he was in John Carter. That movie.
that because that performed well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the movie is bad, folks. I'm just saying it didn't do well. Yeah, I'm looking through this. I have no
He's in
idea who he
Battleship.
is. I didn't watch Battleship.
Okay.
I saw how bad Transformers was. Why would I watch Battleship? You're lucky I got to see Turtles. Bay Turtles,
Bay
obviously.
Turtles. Yeah, Bay
I
Turtles.
granted,
The second one's better.
Battleship was not a Michael Bay film, but it might as well have been from
That
what
is
I
true.
saw.
That is true. But I don't think we're here to talk about
No.
the movie X-Men. We're here to talk about the animated series.
Well, pretty much. I think we may have gotten it finished.
I think we did.
So we need to actually announce what we're reviewing next week.
Mm-hmm. What are we reviewing next week?
It'll come up next week. Oh, we got a fun one here. Satellite Girl and Milk Cow is the movie.
Oh, that movie you bought.
The South Korean anime.
Oh my god!
About a guy who he's got a crush on a girl, but she ditches him, and for some reason that turns him into a milk cow. And a actual South Korean satellite that was being decommissioned heard him, fell to Earth, turned into a girl, and ran around with him, all while Merlin, who is now a roll of toilet paper, is following along with them. It's a goofy movie.
What?
Yes.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting.
Yes, it's a weird movie. It's the weirdest movie I think
exactly.
I reviewed on. And it's not a bad one. It's just by that description alone, it's like, huh?
Because I remember you, Billy, we were at.
I've talked about this
you
on
have.
the show.
You have. Because you bought it at half price
books. We were there, I think, waiting to see a movie.
Yeah,
or we were there on a singles event, waiting to sit down.
Yeah,
I think for dinner, and we both went into half price because it's like we got to do something while we're waiting.
Yeah,
and we both looked at movies. I think both of us were thinking in terms of movies for the show.
We were,
and I think that's where I bought my current copies of Final Fantasy Advent Children. Final Fantasy Spirits Within, and Final Fantasy Advent Children, Final Fantasy 7 Advent Children Complete, which I didn't know was different from Advent Children.
Exactly,
it's the same movie, but I mean, Complete is better.
Yeah,
and then I saw this and go, this looks like my kind of garbage. Literally, my thought here, and yeah, it's my kind of garbage because it's not really garbage. It's more like, okay. You know how there's some foods out there that taste weird that make you wonder, why would I eat this? And yet you're willing to go back for a second helping?
Fair.
That kind of movie.
Okay.
That's the way I know how to explain it.
Okay. Fair.
But yeah, that's the movie we're reviewing next week.
Excellent.
And the X-Men episodes we're reviewing next week is Till Death Do Us Part, Parts 1 and 2. I suspect somebody's getting married.
Maybe.
Somebody get the preacher, somebody get the ring. If I remember the rest of the song from the Muppets Take Manhattan, I'd keep going, but oh well. That's what we're reviewing next week.
Yes.
You got anything else to add before we get out of here?
Yeah, next week's gonna be interesting. Let's say that.
Oh yes.
Apparently Drew likes the movie.
It's a movie.
It's
a weird movie.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I will never in my life say it is better than any of the Studio Ghibli stuff we've done.
Okay.
But it might be the closest thing from South Korea that gets close.
Oh, okay.
Even though it's got such a weird premise.
Gotcha.
But we'll look at that next week.
All right.
In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And I don't have to worry about messing up and not allowing someone to self-promote this week because our stuff is in the outro.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photobin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell, with a single L.
And that's all, folks. I thought you were going to finish the line. Can you say that legally?